We were at an extreme range for effective teleporting, at least I understood it, which admittedly was not well. However, that did not necessarily mean anything. The forces of chaos were often adept at using the warp in ways that the Imperium could not predict. And besides, given the bloodthirsty nature we had already demonstrated by their commander, it was not out of question that they might try such a tactic, even if it was a low chance of success. "Emergence flare, location," the lion snapped, drawing fealty from its scabbard and activating it with one hand while locking his helm into place with the other. But the air was already shimmering with telltale distortion. I aimed my pistols and activated my vox to speak 2 words. "Bridge, now!" Then the shimmering resolved into dark shapes, and between one breath and the next, the distortion cleared entirely to be replaced by 6 huge warriors in armor of blood and red and brass. Terminators. What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm back to talk about Warhammer 40K. So if you guys are unaware, today is the final episode of the week that we've been covering everything that has to do with the Dark Angels. So today we'll see just how powerful a recently awoken lion can be when he's going toe-to-toe with 5 Cornet Terminators. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right in. "Seraphax can burn. If the lion's here, I want his head," roars the apparent leader of the new arrivals. He is a monster, bloated by the foul powers of chaos in his Terminator armor, so that he nearly rivals a Primarch in size. He is surrounded by other warriors, almost as massive as he, each one armed with a brutal collection of close combat weapons. Chain axes, lightning claws, power fists. The leader clutches a power sword in his right hand, while his left is enveloped in a huge powered glove from which the toothed tongue of a chain fist protrudes. The lion shouts, "Then come and take it if you can." His challenge is not mere theoretical. The bridge crews are scattering away from the Terminators, and with good reason, since they could no more fight them than they could a supernova. The lion can see their minuscule twitches in the warriors' limbs, as their instincts press them to pursue and butcher their fleeing humans. He has to keep their attention on him. He raises his sidearm and opens fire. The Arma Luminous spits a bolt of energy as bright as the sun straight at the Lord of Chaos. However, instead of vaporizing ceramite and punching into the flesh and bone beneath, the shot is enveloped and consumed by crackling darkness and disappears as quickly as it materializes. It flares with an ugly light that is echoed by other runes, which flash into existence all across his armor. The lion's skin prickles through the blade. "Blood for the Blood God," howls the Chaos Lord. He and his bodyguards rush for the stairs that will carry them to the command deck, where the lion stands. "Zabriel, hold the door," the lion orders as he moves towards the stairs and holsters the Arma Luminous. Zabriel says something in response, but the lion does not hear the words. He is filled with revulsion and fury at the sight of the interlopers, and with a mighty leap, he launches himself clean across the rails, over the crew, and into the foremost Terminator, before it's halfway up the stairs. Even though they are a Space Marine clad in Terminator armor, the sheer weight, speed, and fury of a Primarch is too much. The impact sends them sprawling back downwards, and the lion with them. He recovers his feet with a roar of rage and seizes fealty in a double-handed grip, then drives it into the neck joint of the nearest Terminator, who is still on his back. The energized blade, propelled by a Primarch's muscles, slides through the weak armor and bites into the Terminator's throat and onto the spinal column. The heretic stiffens, then goes limp, and his blood flashes into fire and ash as it oozes out around the wound that fealty has inflicted. A power fist then thunders into the lion's side with a crackling discharge of energy that splinters ceramite. The lion is sent stumbling by the blow, leaving fealty wedged in the neck of the fallen heretic, and a sudden stab of agony informs him that his armor is not the only thing to be damaged. Some of his ribs are surely cracked, if not outright broken. The sharp clarity of this pain washes away the rage which grips him, and turns to face the traitors with grim understanding. The foul deity they worship hungers for blood, and the aura they project manages to taint even his perceptions for a mere moment. The Terminators thunder forwards with weapons raised. The battle cries turned into blood-curdling hymns of slaughter by the distortion of their vox grills. The lion's instinct is to spring to meet them and plow straight through, breaking them apart with nothing but his hands, but he restrains the impulse. He might have been able to do that in times past, even against foes like these, but this is a different age, and he is already wounded. He was never careless, but now more than ever he cannot afford to trust his strength and vitality alone. His victory, and indeed perhaps survival, will come down to one singular thing: focus. A single focus, a task from which his mind will not deviate until it is resolved to his satisfaction. This is second nature to him. He is aware that this has made him seem cold and detached at other times, but that too is an extraneous detail. The lion banishes the pain in his side with an effort of will and flows into the battle. He already knows that the Terminators can wound him, but they are slow and cumbersome, and their momentum can be used against them. The lion kicks out at the first one, armed with a twin chain axe. Not at the face or the chest, but at the right knee. The impact jars the Chaos Worshipper's leg backwards just as he was about to plant it on, and the auto balancers built into the warplate are unable to properly compensate. The Terminator stumbles forward to his front. The lion sidesteps to his left to avoid the mass of the clattering ceramite. The second Terminator, wielding a chain axe of his own, as well as a power fist which splintered his armor, falls over the first. The third combatant is the Lord of Chaos himself. He pulls up short of his fallen warriors and lunges for the lion with his chain fist. The Chaos Lord's swing appears to be caught in a grav field, given how slowly it is moving to the lion's vision. He catches the inside of the traitor's left arm at the elbow with his right hand and slams his left into the Chaos Lord's chest. He then uses this leverage and his enemy's unbalance to hoist him off of his feet, spin him around, and dump him into the command terminal that crumbles as the heretic hits it. He will be unharmed within his armor, and only out of the fight for a mere matter of seconds, but seconds are crucial. Another Terminator attacks, this one with a diagonal slash of his chain axe. The lion catches the weapon by the haft, just above where the Terminator hand grips it, and wrenches it out of the warrior's grasp in the same motion. He uses it to knock aside the lightning claw's thrust from the last attacker, backhands the butt of the haft of the original wielder's faceplate, cracking an eye lens, then steps aside as the lightning claw armed traitor lunges again, both weapons extended. The lion hurls his stolen weapon end over end at the Chaos Lord, who is still rising himself from the command terminal, and the impact of the traitor's pauldron tips the balance just enough to send him slumping down again with a roar of rage and frustration. The heretic who had just been impaled by his fellow's lightning claws reacts to those in a grip of the blood god's frenzy. He lashes out with his power fist at the source of his pain, knocking the other traitor back with a thunderclap as the weapon's disruption field pulverizes some of the ceramite as it strikes. The lightning claws are then wrenched out of his body and blood spills from the 8 wounds left in their wake. The lion reaches behind him, and his fingers close on the grip of fealty, still embedded in the neck of the Terminator he killed. He wrests it out and moves back into the attack. This is a weapon which can make a mockery of even tactical dreadnought plate. He kicks the bleeding Terminator in the back, sending him staggering forward on the one with the lightning claws. Lost in pain and bloodlust, the injured traitor no longer seems to care to whom the original target was, and simply just lashes out at whatever warrior is in front of him. The lion half expects his enemies to show some caution now, to encircle him, for 1 or 2 of them to feint, draw him out, and leave him exposed as to make a strike from the third. But he immediately realizes that such subtleties are not the way of Khorne. The blood god has no patience to wait, for blood must be spilled, and so all 3 warriors charge in at once. In doing so, they almost succeed, for even the lion takes a moment to adjust to such a relentless berserk savagery. He ignores the chain axes for now. Their teeth can scribble and scrattle against his armor, almost as ineffective as they would against Terminator plate. He concentrates on the power fist, the power sword, the chain fist, because these are the weapons that could most readily hurt him. Of those three, the Power Fist has the least reach, and so it is the Chaos Lord who is the center of the lion's attention. However, even a warrior steeped in the power of the Taker of Skulls can only swing one of those weapons at a time, and so the lion backs away, parrying, catching chain axe blows on pauldrons or the sturdy solid plates of his vambrances, instead of vulnerable joints. His defenses are a whirling shroud of empowered silver metal while he looks for his opportunity. It comes when the warrior to his right, infuriated by his inability to draw blood with his axes, loses any semblance of composure and hurls himself bodily at the lion with both of his weapons raised. The lion ducks for a mere moment, allowing the traitor to collide with him, then straightens and raises his right shoulder as he often does. The Terminator is thrown head over heels into the opposite number, knocking them both to the floor again. The Chaos Lord thrusts with his power blade, a blow aimed straight for the lion's chest. The lion cannot avoid it, but he turns and leans into it with his left pauldron, on which the image of a hooded specter stands proud. The heretic's power blade dives deep into the thick ceramite and sticks fast for a moment. And a moment is long enough for the lion to bring fealty up and around in a two-handed grip and shear through the enemy's sword hand at the wrist. The Chaos Lord, caught up in its rage, barely pauses to register the loss of his hand. He bellows in a fury and swings wildly with his chain fist, a scything blow from which the lion steps back. The traitor lashes out again on the back wing, and although a chain fist is a powerful weapon, it is not a subtle one. They were designed for cutting through bulkheads and jam doors when clearing bunker complexes and space hulks, and they have little ability to alter the direction of the blade. The lion waits for the backswing to pass him, then pivots like a fencer and extends. Fealty goes straight through his enemy's faceplate. The enemy commander staggers backwards and falls. The lion wrenches Fealty out as he does, and turns and draws the Arma Luminis to put a blazing hot shot into the heads of the other two Terminators. Each one dies with their brains boiling within what remains of their skulls. The lion uses Fealty to knock loose the power sword still embedded from his pauldron, then turns. The Terminator, armed with the lightning claws, has finished butchering his former comrade, but he has suffered for it. One arm hangs limply, and his faceplate has been smashed away to reveal the damaged visage beneath. Spurs of bone jut out from the Chaos Worshipper's cheek and chin to point to where his helmet would surely not have fitted for much longer in any case. He staggers forward, drooling corrosive spittle over torn lips, reaching out with the arm from which he still has control, as though his shuffling gait will be enough to impale the lion on his bloodied talons. The Arma Luminis cannot be fired again, lest it overheat, so the lion brings Fealty up into a guard position. He will not make the same mistake of underestimating his enemy. However, before either one of them advances into the range of the other, there is a distinctive double roar of bolter fire, and the traitor's head explodes. He slumps sideways, and the lion looks up at the command deck to see Zabriel standing there with both his bolt pistols aimed at the heretic's corpse. "Forgive me, Lord. I do not wish to interrupt," says Zabriel, "but now I actually had a target I might stand a chance of damaging." "I take no issue with this," the lion assures him, and lowers his blade. "I am not the Wolf King to growl and defend my kill." And with that being said, guys, that is the end of this awesome battle. So here you can see that even though it's a Primarch going against any other enemy, they're not these untouchable, immortal, impervious gods. Especially the lion. He has aged 10,000 years since he was last in the heresy, and as you can see, he's still an expert swordsman, an expert combatant, an expert fighter, but he has to take things more slowly, analyze, be more critical, because now he is able to be almost even playing field. A well-placed shot can kill a Primarch, but now we see that Chaos is becoming more and more of a threat to these Primarchs, so they're not as powerful as they used to be back in the day. They actually have to play smarter and fight with a more clearer angle so that they don't get beaten up to the point where they can't defend themselves and they end up losing. So again, guys, this novel is literally a 10 out of 10. I think I've talked about it 2 or 3 times already on the channel, and I can't recommend it enough. So go out there and get The Lion, Son of the Forest. It is an amazing recent novel for 40K that is literally a 10 out of 10, and probably even more if you're a fan of the Dark Angels or the Lion. So let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget, we've got Dark Angel themed videos all week. So again, stay subscribed for more of that. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of Unmind Syndicate, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.